Today, we will examine how the Korean final consonant digit changes during conjugation, traditional grammar records which words keep digit, and which words change it to rule. But it does not give a learner a practical way to predict the direction of a word they have never seen before. Reklum fills that gap. There are two basic directions. When the vowel in the syllable carrying digit is a oro, digit normally remains. After the other vowels, digit normally changes to rule. We then classify the places that depart from these basic directions into 4 groups. If learners memorize all 7 major Korean conjugation changes as word lists, they face more than 431 items. Reklum reorganizes those lists into 26 decision principles based on sound and the vowels before and after the consonant. Digit is the 4th of those 7 axes. Our goal is not to memorize 20 new words today. The 20 representative examples form a teaching map. They reveal 2 basic directions and 4 explanations for the words that depart from them.
닫다 becomes 닫아요. and 받다 becomes 받아요.
The final digit remains.
벗듣다 becomes 들어요. and 걷다 becomes 걸어요.
The written final consonant is the same, yet the result is different. Conventional explanations often stop here and say, "It is irregular, so memorize it." Everyone already knew that the apple fell. What was missing was a theory explaining why it fell. Reklum first draws a map of where digit remains and where it changes. Reklum does not reject standard grammar. Standard grammar accurately records the environment of the change and the accepted conjugated form of each word. The remaining problem is prediction. When learners meet an unfamiliar digit final word, the written form alone does not tell them which direction it will take. The purpose of this lesson is not to replace the dictionary. It is to let learners make an informed prediction before opening one, and then explain a standard form that differs from that prediction through one of 4 categories. Here is the complete map.
Basic direction A says that digit remains after. The bright vowels A and O 받다, 닫다, 곧다, and 돋다 belong here.
Basic direction B says that digit changes to rule after the other vowels.
Representative examples include 걷다, 깃다, 눕다, 듣다, 묻다, 붙다, 씻다, and 읽었다.
These 12 words show the 2 basic directions. 8 examples depart from them. Gedutta is the one representative word that changes even after a. 7 other words keep digit where a change would normally be expected. This asymmetry is the key to seeing the whole structure. The number 20 must not be misunderstood. These 20 examples are not the boundary of the principle. They are a classroom set chosen to display the 2 basic directions and the 4 explanatory categories at a glance. The rule is not limited to 20 words. Learners should be able to apply the same decision order whenever they meet a new conjugated form. The decision begins with the dictionary form, not with a free discussion of meaning. First, confirm the dictionary form. Second, check whether the following ending begins with a consonant or a vowel. Third, confirm the actual standard conjugated form. Fourth, only when 2 different words share the same spelling, as with gutta or mutta, distinguish their meanings. Fifth, check whether the vowel in the digit-bearing syllable is a or o. Finally, decide whether the result follows a basic direction or belongs to one of the 4 explanatory groups. Meaning is an extra step for homonyms, not the starting point for every word. Listen and repeat.
받아요, 닫아요, 고다요, 도다요.
The common feature is that the vowel in the syllable carrying digit is a or o. Digit remains. Before memorizing 4 separate words, group them as the basic set in which a and o hold digit in place. Pronunciation comes before terminology here. When learners say all 4 forms in sequence, they physically feel the continuity of the retained consonant.
Now consider the vowels other than a and o. 걷다 becomes 걸어. 깃다 becomes 길어. 눕다 becomes 누러. 듣다 becomes 들어. 묻다 becomes 물어. 붓다 becomes 불어. 씻다 becomes 싫어. 일컫다 becomes 일컬어.
We have now seen 12 examples, but we did not memorize 12 isolated words. We separated them into two basic directions by checking one vowel. We now reach the first departure from the basic direction.
Because 깨닫다 contains a before the final digit. Basic direction A would lead us to predict 깨닫아요. The actual standard form is 깨달아요.
In this representative set, 깨닫다 is the single word that changes from digit to rule after a.
The smoother pronunciation pass from 깨닫아요 to 깨달아요 was selected in actual usage.
We therefore classify 깨닫다 separately as the case that changes after a bright vowel. Now we move in the opposite direction. 7 words keep digit even though their preceding vowel would normally lead us to expect rule. They fall into 3 groups. 묻다 and 묻다 preserve digit to prevent a collision of meaning.
묻다, 걷다, and 굳다 preserve it with strong first syllable stress. 뜯다 and 뻗다 begin with tense consonants.
All 3 hypotheses answer the same question. Why did this word remain regular in a position where a digit to rule change was expected? If 묻다 followed the easier rule path, its conjugated sound would approach 밀어. But 밀어 already belongs to another verb meaning to push. If 묻다 were allowed to move freely in the same direction, it would collide with 어로, the existing form meaning to freeze. Korean seeks an easier path of pronunciation, but when that path enters a position already occupied by another meaning, the language gives up some ease and protects the distinction.
That is why we say 믿어요 and 얻어요.
묻다 and 걷다 each represent more than one word, so meaning must be separated first.
묻다 meaning to ask becomes 물어요, while 묻다 meaning to bury becomes 묻어요 and keeps digit. 걷다 meaning to walk becomes 걸어요, while 걷다 meaning to roll up a sleeve becomes 걷어요 and keeps digit. 굳다 also remains in 굳어요.
In 묻다, 걷다, and kud, the force on the first syllable remains audible. The colon shown on the slide is not standard Korean spelling. It is only a classroom mark showing where to place the stress. 뜯다 and 뻗다 do not need protection from a competing meaning. Their shared feature is the first sound.
뜯다 begins with the tense consonant 상디귿, and 뻗다 begins with the tense consonant 쌍비읍. say 뜯어요 and 뻗어요.
The tension that begins in the initial consonant continues through the syllable to the final digit. Reclam calls this syllable tension. The accurate statement is not that a tense consonant was added. The word already begins with the tense consonant, and that strong beginning helps the word preserve digit. The complete structure is now visible. 12 examples follow the basic directions. 4 in basic direction A and 8 in basic direction B. 8 examples depart from those directions. 1 changes after a bright vowel, while 7 retain digit after the other vowels. Those 7 divide again into 2 cases of meaning collision, 3 cases of first syllable stress, and 2 cases beginning with tense consonants. 12 plus 8 and within the 8 1 plus 7. Once this structure is understood, a list becomes a map. Words such as 묻다 may share spelling without being the same lexical item.
묻다 meaning to ask becomes 물어요. 묻다 meaning to bury becomes 묻어요.
걷다 must likewise be separated into the action of walking and the action of rolling something up.
묻어요 and 묻히다 are modern standard forms.
Claims about a possible historical root belong only to research hypotheses. Non-standard spellings such as 묻다 or 묻다 must not be presented to learners as standard Korean. The decision procedure always works on the modern standard form. The teacher should understand the theory, but use simple decision sentences with learners. Instead of saying that vowel connection reveals the difference, say when a oro is attached, we can see which words change digit and which words keep it. Instead of using an abstract phrase such as a negative vowel flow, say, in this basic group, digit after a vowel other than a oro changes to rule. Explain first syllable stress as the stronger first syllable heard in words such as mutangata. Do not say that a tense consonant was attached. Say accurately that t and but already begin with tense consonants and preserve digit. Digit conjugation already had basic directions. What was missing was an explanation learners could actually use.
애프터 아오르오, 디저트 노어멀리 리메인즈.
After the other vowels, it normally changes to rule. When the result differs, begin with one question. Did it change where it was expected to remain, or did it remain where it was expected to change? Then classify it through gedatata, meaning collision, first syllable stress, or a tense initial consonant. The learner is no longer a person who memorizes words, but a person who can predict and explain conjugation. Reclam transforms a list of 431 conjugation items into 26 decision principles. The 24-lesson Korean preparatory course and the 142-lesson core course are available at k-han.kr. Move from memorizing Korean to judging its structure. When you can build the sentence, you can speak it.